Hello, Ramley and other NFL family. Peo Tom, your Canadian Rams fan here with another Rams video. In this video, we are talking about the Rams playoff picture.
We'll talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
I know, it's only week 6 and the Rams are 1-4, but if you're an NFL fan, it's fun to look at this stuff here. So in this video, we're just going to kind of go over some statistics. We'll go over some scenarios and some important games coming up here. But the first thing I need to know when you're watching this video, please, context is so important. So I'm using this website, playoffstatus.com. Great website, and they have some great odds. These are not linear percentages. They fluctuate week to week. They fluctuate based on other outcomes of other games. So this is the current state of the Rams as they go into their bye week. It's important to note that these percentages go up and down, and we'll talk about that a little later on in the video because I find this interesting. So the first thing to note here, and I'll bring up this graphic on the screen. As you can see, Rams and the Panthers are the only teams that are 1-4 in the NFC right now. So they're not doing too good. Oh, great. But if we look over on this side here, so right now they currently have an 87% chance of not making the playoffs. So that's not great if you're a Rams fan. And according to this percentage, they have a 2% chance at the 7th seed, a 1% at the 6th seed, a less than 1% chance at the 5 seed, a 7% at the 4 seed, which means that's if they're still in contention for the NFC West division, and then 2% for the 3 seed and less than 1% for the 1 and 2 seed. It might be safe to say that the 1 and 2 seed are kind of out of it. Part of the reasons that these percentages are quite low is they've lost games to NFC opponents, which hurts them in the NFC playoff race. It doesn't mean it's all hopeless, and I'll give a little bit of hope there, but just sort of context there. So the first big percentage, there is currently an 87% chance that the Rams don't make the playoffs. Now, again, that number will fluctuate week to week based on outcomes of other games and, of course, the Rams games themselves. But if we look over at this chart here, so of the remaining games, if the Rams, and this is where we're going to look at like the overly optimistic perspective. So if the Rams win 12 of 12 games, because that's 12 games left. They finished the record 13-4. Wouldn't that be something? There is a 100% chance, there is a less than 1% chance that they miss the playoffs if they win all 12 games. So let's hope for that. And even if they lose one game, there is still a less than 1% chance that they would not make the playoffs, going 12-5. So again, that's the overly optimistic perspective here. And then if they can go 10 of 12, there's a little dip there. There'd only be a 3% chance of no playoffs, so 97% chance they make the playoffs. Now this is where kind of I'd say more the realistic outlook looks like here. So say they went 9 of 12, it jumps to they'd have a 26% chance of not making the playoffs. So 84% chance there. If they have there's a big jump here that if they only win 8 games, and this is where I think is kind of the realistic hopeful here. So the winning 7 games, as you can tell, there's some pretty big jump in the percentages here of where 8 games says 67% no playoffs, And obviously that's kind of the sweet spot for the wild card, which makes sense because they'd have 9 wins. They'd have a record of 9-8. 8-9, then you have a losing record. There's a 91% chance of no playoffs. And then 6 of 12, so only half of the rest of their games, then there's a dramatic increase. And this is the, like, all hope is lost, the season's over look at it here. So and I won't go through all these percentages with it, but essentially we're trying to get to at least 8 wins of the 12 wins to get them to 9 wins. Ideally 9 of 10, so ideally 10 wins. Ideally 10 wins. So can the Rams win 9 more games this season to still have a pretty good chance of getting the wild card slot? So if we look at the Rams' remaining schedule here, and I'll go to ESPN.com for this. So if we check it out here, let's try and find where can those 9 wins come from to get the Rams to 10 wins. So I think they can beat the Raiders. I'm quite confident. I hope they beat the Raiders. Coming off of a bye week and playing the Raiders, it's in SoFi. I'm hoping they can beat the Raiders. So that's 1. The Vikings are pretty hot. It's on a short week. Sean McVay and the Rams have done pretty well on Thursday night games over the past couple of seasons. Maybe there, but I'm not sure. That's a really good team right now, and the Rams are still, banged up. Hopefully they heal up. In Seattle, maybe if they can at least split with Seattle, there's a win there. I believe they can beat the Dolphins and the Patriots there, so that's 3 wins. And then as you're looking at this here, you kind of jumping around. The Jets gets you to 4 wins. So then you're hoping they can take the Eagles in prime time on Sunday Night Football. Maybe the Saints in New Orleans. Can they beat Arizona and split with them? Maybe even sweeping the Niners and the Seahawks. Somewhere in there. If I'm going to be the overly optimistic fan, I think that they find a way to beat the Raiders and the Vikings on the short week, and the Dolphins and the Patriots, which gets them to 4 wins. They're pretty good against the Saints. They beat them last year, so that would get them to 5 wins. I think they can beat the Jets. They just fired Robert Saleh. Maybe the Jets season's kind of in free fall. That's 6 wins. If they can split with the Cardinals and win in Week 18 versus the Seahawks, that's 7 wins. Can they sweep the Niners? Potentially, maybe. Beating Buffalo, that could be a tall order, but Buffalo is definitely a team that has some weaknesses. Maybe that's where you can find a win there. So anyway, this is pure speculation. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. In this remaining schedule, how many wins do you see realistically, overly optimistically? Or maybe if you want to be like, the sky is falling, all hope is lost, the Rams are going to lose every game, there's no way they're making the playoffs. Well, I'm not going to be like that just because I don't find that fun. But you can totally be like that, no judgment. Anyway, everyone, thanks so much for watching, especially if you watched the end of the video. And as always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Feel free to check out my Packers reaction video or my pick'em video, and we will see you in the next Rams video.